Hey everybody, Fallout here, and today I want to talk about something that really in the grand scheme of things probably ain't that important, but it's important to me, and I think that it could make a world of difference for both a lot of other streamers out there and the portion of the D2 community who really enjoys watching live streams and Bungie events and all that kind of stuff. I want to talk to you about probably one of the most stressful, borderline worst streams I ever had in my entire life about a year ago, and that is when I was invited to be a Bungie Bounty live on Twitch. Just letting you know, by the way, in advance that this video will have a happy ending and a good redemption arc, and I do have good things to say about the Bungie Bounty. I'm going to explain what went wrong and why I think everyone, meaning Bungie, streamers, and the community, need to manage expectations and be a little bit more organized moving forward. And finally, why the Bungie Bounty is ultimately a very fun experience. It just needs maybe mild tweaking and planning for the better. Okay, backing up a tad here. First of all, what is the Bungie Bounty? The Bungie Bounty is a fun little event that Bungie dreamed up a few years ago where they ask a streamer or a YouTuber or some known community figure to willingly be a target in PvP. You pick a day and you pick a time range, and during that time range, you go and hop into PvP in D2. And during that time, any Guardian that matches against the Bungie Bounty target and beats them in a game of PvP, they get awarded a unique emblem, the Bungie Bounty emblem. If you lose to the Bungie Bounty target, then no emblem for you. And you also have a shot of getting the emblem if you're matched onto the same team as the Bungie Bounty target. If I'm the Bungie Bounty and I go into PvP and you're on my team, if we win the game of PvP or control Iron Banner or whatever, then you get the emblem reward for winning while being on my team. So no matter what, either everyone on your team or everyone on the other team will get the emblem as a reward. Sounds fun, right? Well, it definitely can be. However, if there's not enough communication or expectation managing from all three sides, again, those sides being the streamer, the viewers, and Bungie, then being the Bungie Bounty can be really rough. Borderline miserable. Okay, on to the quick story. So about a year or so ago, can't really remember how long it's been by now, but I was invited to be a Bungie Bounty as part of the D2 podcasts that I'm a part of. If you didn't know, I'm the host of a D2 podcast under the umbrella of the Destiny Community Podcast. It's a branch-off show called Firing Range, and it is me, Cammy Cakes, Cool Guy, Drewski, and Merc from Massive Breakdown. Anywho, our podcast was kind of new about a year ago, and Bungie was really cool. They invited us to be a Bungie Bounty target. I was really appreciative and I was thrilled because I've been streaming for years and only went full-time content creation in 2019, and I always wanted to be a Bungie Bounty. So I said with little expectations of how it would go. Thought everything would be fun and chill, play a few games with the boys, a few people in the chat have a shot to earn a very rare emblem, yay for the people who get it, yada yada yada. To make things kind of fair, it was recommended to us by Bungie that we do a few things. One, don't go in with the full team of the podcast all at once, i.e. don't go into PvP with me, Cammy, Drew, Merc, and Cool Guy all at the same time for the whole thing. Reason being, we all play a ton of PvP and we don't want to be potentially god-stomping Johnny day jobs out there all day. You could argue that that might go against the spirit of the Bungie Bounty or whatever, but no, I'm actually in agreement. I wouldn't have fun knowing that only, I don't know, like 5 people got the Bungie Bounty all day because we kept on doing all 6 of us on one team and just stomping every team. Second recommendation was maybe don't go full ham with god tier loadouts the entire time for the same reason mentioned above. To me, that did make sense. That kind of created a problem though, which I didn't realize would happen until much later. If I'm running a chill or non-top tier loadout and people get matched on my team during the Bungie Bounty, remember they can potentially earn the bounty if we win. So if I'm running a wonky off-meta loadout and we lose, then people who got matched on my team would get mad at me for, quote, not trying hard enough or, quote, not taking the Bungie Bounties seriously. After that stream was over, by the way, one angry player who had been matched on our team when we lost wrote a multi-paragraph angry DM, which they sent to another community member that I'm good friends with, essentially demanding that they go to Bungie and, I don't know, punish me or complain about me or have my community status revoked or something to that degree. Now, if you're watching right now and maybe thinking, wow, who would take a little community event for an emblem that seriously? I'm gonna tell you right now, a lot of people. And this is partly on me, but the first time going into the Bungie Bounty, I really underestimated how much people actually cared about acquiring that silly little in-game emblem. I get it, it's the entire point of the Bungie Bounty event, but I didn't expect that people would act so insanely toxic in the chat for not getting the bounty or for the event not going exactly the way that they wanted it to go. And let me tell you, over my years of being a streamer, both part-time as a hobby many years ago and full-time now, I've done trials carries, I've done meme loadouts, I've played in tournaments, I've commentated tournaments. I even commentated a Gambit tournament in the UK one time with Bife. That was great. And no stream, no chat I've ever seen was as toxic as the first time I was ever the Bungie Bounty. Just the most insane, aggressive, toxic comments I've ever seen in my life were thrown around that day at me, at my mod team, at my podcast friends, the loadout choice, the community at large, the event. I get that people really wanted to get that emblem and they set time out of their day to try and hunt it down. And if things aren't running completely smooth, if there's a hiccup, I get that you feel like as a viewer, you might be wasting your time, which nobody wants. But yeah, that day was really rough mentally for me. It was a situation where I almost felt like I couldn't win no matter what was going on. If I used a chill loadout or if I didn't go full ham, then people in the community who got matched on my team would flip out and rage if we lost because I wasn't going hard enough and the loss costed them the emblem. So I would immediately feel bad and change my loadout and DM the boys or tell them on microphone, hey, let's go a little harder. And then the next game, if we won, you know, the exact opposite. I get people coming into the chat to be toxic that we had to resort to using try-hard loadouts. Why couldn't you use what you used before? Us because we beat them, the event is garbage, and so on. Meanwhile, you really want to be excited as a streamer because your Twitch viewership is blowing up that day, but you can't be because your mod team is working triple overtime on both timing people out and bans for people in chat who are just acting insane. They actually probably don't care if they get timed out or banned because honestly, they're only there for the emblem and they really don't have any plans of ever coming back to your stream after the day of the Bungie Bounty, which is fine, by the way. It's not like streamers should expect every new viewer to be a permanent new lifelong friend and member to your community. But yeah, I was just in no way prepared for the sheer volume of absolute insanity and how it would affect my overall regular community and my mod team and me. Another thing that people really got tightly wound up over was how easy or hard me, the streamer, was making it to get stream sniped for the bounty. If you don't know what stream sniping is, it's when a viewer or viewers try to watch a streamer entering matchmaking and attempt to enter matchmaking on their own at the exact same time. The goal being to line things up perfectly and get into the same game as the streamer at the same time. Normally in things like comp or trials in D2 or any other ranked game outside of Destiny, stream sniping is usually frowned upon. But in the Bungie Bounty, which I totally get, it is really encouraged, which again, totally fine. That's the whole point of the Bungie Bounty. But I wasn't really prepared enough in terms of the people watching you expect XYZ in terms of being able to easily stream snipe you. And if they don't get the info that they want, they're gonna flip out. Does that give people watching the right to use racial and or homophobic slurs, personal attacks, death threats? No, totally not. But I do get that as a streamer, you should be giving the viewers at home all the info they need in order to stream snipe you, because again, that is the point of the Bungie Bounty. Jumping back to that day when my firing range podcast was the Bungie Bounty, none of the stream sniping expectations were shared, and I went in pretty much blind, and it got really bad. I'd heard a rumor that people expected a countdown so they could match up with you, which made sense to me, so I kept doing a countdown live on the microphone, thinking, hey, that'll get me covered, you know? It wasn't until after a few games had already gone by that I realized that the countdown on the microphone actually wasn't helping anyone stream snipe me at all because of the natural delay that occurs when you stream. Even if it's a 5-second or like a 3-second delay, that's going to make it harder for people watching to stream snipe you, and that caused people in the chat to act even more toxic than they already were, which caused even more trouble for my mods who were already working overtime. If you're wondering why didn't you notice people in the chat telling you about the delay, again, your regular viewership can get octupled if you're the Bungie Bounty, and it's really hard to notice things when your chat is just a waterfall of words and emoting and all that. Not only was there an uncommunicated expectation to do a matchmaking countdown from the viewers to me until it was too late, people wanted to see the matchmaking queue or know about the matchmaking queue at all times. Even with a stream delay, they still wanted to see or at least know in the Twitch chat where I was in the matchmaking, i.e. was I at 5 out of 12 players found? Was I at 10 out of 12 players found? And so on. By the way, I know that as a streamer, I don't have to give people that information. I could technically just say, hey, suck it up and try to get lucky and match me. But I know that a lot of people literally plan out chunks of their day in advance to try and get a team together to hunt down a Bungie bounty. It's a time commitment, and I want to make sure I'm respecting people's time that they have carved out to try and find me in PvP. I don't know how many other streamers have had these problems with being the Bungie bounty, but I'm willing to bet that a fair amount of them have. I didn't catch it, but I'd heard from both word of mouth and from Reddit that More Console's recent Bungie bounty was a borderline train wreck of an experience. From what I've read, from what I've heard, this was kind of a mishmash of mistakes being made. More Console did show up late to his own Bungie bounty, which is 100% on him. But one potential problem that I did hear about was that people didn't know where to find him. Because several of the Bungie bounties happened on Twitch, it was probably assumed by many that More Console would probably be streaming on Twitch. He wasn't. He ended up streaming on YouTube, or so I heard. During the day, I'd actually seen people on Twitch running around from chat to chat of the most popular D2 streamers. We actually had people coming into our chat too, flooding chat with comments like, where is More Console? We can't find him. And I went back and checked the November 4th TWAB, aka the This Week at Bungie, and even though there were links to each community member's preferred method of live streaming, it didn't exactly make it clear via text who would be streaming where. I think it would be a great idea in the future if for the Bungie bounty, we would just have all the information, every piece of information you could imagine that the community would need up on the TWAB or on Bungie.net, including, X player will be streaming on this platform, Y streamer will be streaming on that platform. During his Bungie bounty, apparently More Console also started playing Gambit, which in fairness to him was supposedly what he agreed and signed up to in advance, being a Bungie bounty in the Gambit game type. Needless to say, people in his chat flipped out because usually the Bungie bounties are straight up PvP. I went back again to the November 4th TWAB, and nowhere in any of the names mentioned did Bungie say which game type would be played by who. Just thinking that maybe if, again, all the information, absolutely every inch of information was shared in that TWAB, platform, game type, etc., then it probably wouldn't have put all that pressure on More Console to literally change his pre-agreed on game type on the fly, which he was essentially bullied into doing live by people who expected and demanded that he be playing Control, or so I heard. Another mistake that I heard had happened. Apparently at some point during the Bungie bounty, More Console decided to party up with some friends of his, which by the way is allowed by Bungie, but the people he joined up with were reportedly playing on PC. If you didn't know, More Console was advertised in the November 4th TWAB as a Bungie bounty on console. People at home were therefore probably organizing fire teams and hunting parties on console. When More Console fire teamed up with people on PC midway through his bounty, if you don't know how crossplay works in D2, that completely changes the matchmaking. Here's how it works. If you're on console and you're either alone or you're playing with other people on console in your fire team, you will only be matched against other people playing console. If at any point you join up into a fire team with people on PC, you will now be taken out of the console matchmaking pool and put into the PC only matchmaking pool. Meaning if there were any fire teams out there trying to hunt down More Console only on console, which is what was advertised by Bungie, then they wouldn't be able to match up against him if he had partnered up with people on PC. Again, I wasn't there, but knowing my past experience as the Bungie bounty, I can only imagine how his chat reacted to him doing that at the time. Okay, I did mention that the video wouldn't be all negative crap trap, there is a redemption arc and a good ending. Even though my first time being the Bungie Bounty literally made me question whether or not I wanted to keep on streaming full time. My second time as the Bungie Bounty, which only happened about a week ago as of today's video, was awesome. Legit everything I wanted it to be and more. I learned from the first experience what the viewers wanted and how I could give that to them in a way that made everybody happy, including me and my mod team. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give out advice right now for streamers, viewers, and for Bungie regarding the next wave of Bungie Bounties, because again, when done the right way, the Bungie Bounty is amazing. For streamers, you're the Bungie Bounty. Okay, cool, congratulations, and be prepared. And I don't mean with your in-game loadout. You wanna turn on 24-hour follower-only mode, aka people can only talk in the chat if they've been following you for 24 hours already. If you want extra protection, you can turn on sub-only mode. And if you're a viewer right now and you think that's extreme, I promise you, as someone who's been there twice, it is not. Most people who are there are hunting the emblem, which is fine. If people really do like your stream though, and they wanna come back, they will. They'll come back and chat with you another day. But having too many people flooding your chat with just a bunch of garbage can make things overwhelming, especially if you're making a mistake and you need to hear from your mods. Be sure to have text on the screen as an overlay or as a repeating Nightbot command in your Twitch chat that tells people the following: where you're located, country and time zone, what platform you're playing on, what game type you're playing, i.e. Control, Iron Banner, Clash, or whatever. Especially if you have chat restrictions turned on, which again I recommend, gotta make sure that all relevant info of where you are and what you're playing is up on the screen. If you plan on mixing things up and going from one platform to another or one game type to another, let people know in advance. Make sure there is a tight schedule that everybody can see and everybody knows the schedule. Tell people you're going to use whatever you want. There's going to be winners and losers every match. That's just the way it goes, unavoidable. Finally, be sure to do a matchmaking countdown in the chat of your stream, not on the microphone. That way, as you're typing the countdown in the chat, you're letting everyone know the exact moment that you go into matchmaking and they have all the info they need and everybody wins. For viewers, here is your advice. Manage expectations. Think about it this way. Most Bungie bounties are about 2 hours. Average length of a PvP match, including matchmaking time in between games, all that stuff, maybe 10 minutes. So we're talking about an average of 6, maybe 7 games per hour, meaning let's say 14 or 15 games on average for a period of 2 hours. Let's say the Bungie Bounty loses every game they play, which probably won't happen. So at maximum for one Bungie Bounty, only 90 people will earn the ultra rare emblem. On my most recent Bungie Bounty stream, several thousand people were watching the stream trying to hunt me down. So your odds of getting to actually match the target and earn the bounty are very, very low. You should still try, it's not impossible, but again, manage expectations. If you do get matched up, good, try your best. If you don't get matched up, not the worst thing in the world. I hope you at least had fun watching the streamer get hunted and maybe got their booty clapped. No need to go full toxic nuclear meltdown in the chat. Finally, Bungie, your advice. The Bungie Bounty, at its best, is one of the most fun events I've ever been a part of. That being said, without communication, it is very easy for things to be overwhelming and stressful for the streamer and frustrating for the viewer. The key to everyone is managing expectations. You gotta make sure that streamers know going into the Bungie Bounty that things will get wild and to maybe put restrictions on their chat. Make sure they get a little pep talk about potentially showing all relevant info on their streams and doing a countdown in chat to make sure they don't get drowned out in angry chat toxicity. And of course, make sure that whatever they plan on doing is communicated to the chat. Are they going to do half Gambit, half PvP? Make sure all that information is communicated in advance. Nothing changed on the fly. And make sure that all the info is readily available on the TWAB, on Bungie.net, wherever, down to the last detail. All right, that's enough out of me. Again, the Bungie Bounty for me, second time around, was amazing. Everything I wanted it to be and more. But I definitely want to make sure that more streamers have that kind of experience and maybe not the first one that I had. Shout out to Bungie for putting together a cool event that I'm confident will only get better with more communication and planning. And shout out to the viewers out there who know that at the end of the day, it's only a game. Why you have to be mad? Anyway, share today's video with a community member or content creator who you really like, who might be an upcoming Bungie Bounty. Make sure they are prepared. If they are, I guarantee they're going to have a lot of fun. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.